Hello, everyone. Welcome. Um, Good morning or good afternoon. I don't know where are you. Bienvenidos. Eh, Esta es la sesión de conversación con los artistas de las obras del programa Paisajes en Tiempos Abstractos. Um, I am Oscar Pico. I am one of the curators and organizers of the festival. Um, Here is my friend Juan Camilo Alvarez. Juan Camilo is the programmer of this program.
Selections.
Entonces, we are going to speak in Spanish and in English. Maybe someone can help me, but Juan Camilo, háblanos, bienvenido, muchas gracias por aceptar la invitación.
Hola, buen día para todos. Es un gusto estar aquí con ustedes.
Sí, sí, Juan Camilo, entonces, ¿puedes contarnos cómo fue la experiencia de hacer este programa y cómo lograste pues este concepto de paisajes en tiempos abstractos?
Bueno, todo partió de la idea de identificar diversos procesos creativos, diversas experiencias con lo audiovisual, con la imagen de archivo, procesos de edición, procesos también con la idea de la representación de experiencias pasadas, presentes, futuras. También articulado con posibles paisajes y espacios citadinos o con la experimentación, la combinación de los mismos. Hay trabajos también con la fragmentación de imágenes, ritmos musicales, diferentes usos del color y el blanco y negro, así como la exploración de texturas, de formas, el uso de la luz y algunas obras que también están situadas en lo sonoro. Hay también trabajos con algo de fotografía. Entonces, básicamente, el tiempo abstracto viene dado en la articulación del trabajo técnico y también con la orientación, como con la disposición que cada uno de los artistas tuvo al dimensionar un poco su proyecto. Generalmente los paisajes, los espacios implican toda una significación en la experiencia, en el viaje. eh, entonces, eso es importante.
Bueno, I think we can start talking with you. Can Anna, hello. Do you hear me, Anna? Can you turn on the microphone, please?
Yes,
Hi,
I can
Anna.
hear you. Hi.
Nice to meet you. Nice to have you here. Welcome again. So you are the artist of the film 40 Sites, right?
Yes.
Okay. Anna, could you please tell us a little bit about the ideas that you gathered to make the movie and how did you develop the film, please?
Yeah. I don't know if I understood you correctly. Could you just repeat quickly?
Sorry, could you please tell us about the ideas of the film and how did you make them to develop the film?
Okay, I hope you can hear me well because I have some. Otherwise, I can hear some voice in talking. So I hope
I
I
hear
could
you.
be heard.
I hear
Okay,
you.
great. So the idea for the film was quite a long process. But mostly it came from watching TV and feeling sick when viewing everyday news because usually it was not that nice. So, but I had a feeling that there are so many things going on in the world that it's a bit hard to follow them. So I wanted to make a visual representation of what is going on in the world that could be somehow representative regarding what is going on in politics and in an economic term. And at the same time, I had this feeling about I had an unpleasant feeling about where is going the development of video, which is that you can make somebody seem like he's talking in real life, but it's actually not. That you can put in the video something that is not there. And I was thinking just how to use this possibility that the digital technology made in last years to talk about problems and not to just create fake news. If that makes sense at all, I hope.
Okay. Could you please tell us a little more about those problems in your country or maybe in Europe?
Again, please.
Could you please tell us uh, which are the problems that you are talking about in the film?
Yeah, I'm so sorry, but it's I can't hear the whole sentences. Like the topics that I hope I understood correctly, the topics that I was interested in was well the difference between wealthy the most wealthiest people in the world and the normal like and the 99%, the differences between different countries, and the superpowers, how they are uh, what is going on between the superpowers of USA and China in the last years. And in Europe, because I'm in Slovenia, which is in European Union, the differences between the Western European countries that are doing quite better than the Eastern European countries. So these are kind of the themes that I was interested in. But in the end of the film, I kind of go through the film going from like a very local context, so from Slovenia, and then blowing it up slowly from like a small country in Europe to Europe and then to the world. And I think in the top of this hierarchy are still like the wealthiest people and the multinationals that can, create problems in all of the countries of the world. So this is why at the last few, almost last part of the video, you have this part of the wealthiest people.
Yeah, problems. There are global problems in everywhere.
Yeah.
Uh, Anna, did you
Yes.
use archive footage or archival footage in your film, right?
Okay. It's very strange because before when I saw you on video, I could understand everything that you said, and now somehow I don't understand
Oh my God.
anymore. So
Rocío, ¿puedes
yeah,
preguntarle?
sorry.
¿Podrías ayudarme, por favor? ¿Estás aquí, Rocío?
Hola.
¿Le podrías
Hola.
preguntar a Ana cuál fue el material de archivo que usó para su película?
Perdón.
Rocío, puedes preguntarle a Ana, por mí, le puedes traducir la pregunta de cómo,
Sí,
sí,
so they want to know if you were using any phone footage or stock footage on your film, and if you did, where were the sources? And if you can like elaborate a little bit about it.
Yes, I did use a lot of found footage because actually the only thing that is mine is the things that were filmed in Slovenia. But since I didn't have much money, so I tried to find some way to represent other countries, and the way I found it is just to get some free footage. So the public domain footage or Creative Commons zero footage, and then I altered it in After Effects and Premiere. So, and one reason is this, that I didn't have money, and the other reason is also a bit that it's more it makes less carbon emission, so it's ecological.
oh yeah, cool, cool, that's a good way to make movies. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
If someone has any questions, you can do it. You can ask if you want. I like your movie. Really like funny sides.
Thank you. It's great to hear this.
So let's speak with Catherine, Catherine Raimi or Raimi. I don't know how to pronounce. Hello, Catherine.
Hello, it's Remy. That's perfect.
Raimi. Okay. Hi, Catherine. You are the director of Lyman or Lyman. I don't know how to pronounce neither. Sorry.
It's fine. Lemon or limon is fine. I mean, limon, it sounds like a lemon, but it's fine.
Okay, Catherine. Which were the ideas that you gathered to make the movie? That you that make the How did you develop the film around the ideas that you had?
So the film was shot using film that was totally expired, that had my school had wanted to throw away. And I was traveling across, I'm from the United States, and I was traveling across the country, filming mostly in national parks or natural places that are under threat from my government to be developed. And I was also really thinking about the title means threshold or boundary. Also like a doorway, and I was really thinking about this particular ecological moment as being that we're possibly going past a place where we can no longer survive as a species. And so the film, all of the footage is shot at these moments of twilight or or dawn, trying to capture things like clouds or mist that are in between, like, that are obscuring, and trying to really situate in an emotional way this feeling of that we're on the precipice, or that we're at this fragility, while also really enjoying the incredible, beautiful landscape.
Nice. Catherine, did you use film or video? I think it's film, right?
Película, sí. It's film. It's a outdated, so I teach at a film school, and they found this box of film that was like 10 years old. It was totally outdated and had been like at the bottom of a closet, and they were going to throw it away.
Oh.
And I said, no, don't throw it away. So they actually found 5 boxes by the end of it. So I used some, and I gave it to my students for free, and we've been using it, and it's quite beautiful. But when I was making this project, I was really thinking about, about the earth and about in the environment, and trying to, I only shot, I think, a total of 5 rolls, 100-foot rolls of film for 12. So it's very conservative. There's not a lot of waste. And I hand processed it. Yeah. So,
where did you process the film? In your film?
I have just my basement. I have a sink. I'm also part of a collective in Boston called AGX that has facilities, but I actually processed all this at home. Just at nighttime when it's dark, and I can make the basement dark. And I processed it I have tanks. So, and then I had it printed at a lab, of course.
Beautiful. It's really interesting that the relationship between the artist and the film. That process is really beautiful. I think it's different that using video. Is maybe like with video we make a lot of images, but with film we like you said, you use every piece of the film that you record, that you made. Sorry if you don't understand.
No, I understand. Thank you. Yeah, I try to do that. I try to be responsible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful film. Yes. Nice. USA is a very beautiful country. Thank you for sharing those landscapes.
Yeah.
Which is the film school that you teach in?
Emerson College in Boston, Massachusetts,
Boston.
in the New England area. Yeah, Boston.
Cool.
Yeah, very cold.
Cold and cool.
Yeah,
Okay, Catherine.
I'm not from there. Okay.
How long did you spend making the film, Catherine?
Maybe a year. I work on a lot of projects simultaneously. That's just my process. And the film, it came out of a lot of, I'm very frustrated with my country right now and the way we're treating the world. and the actual like people and land. And so I kind of I had shot the film, and then it had sort of sat, and I didn't quite know what I was going to do with it, and then it just sort of came like I edited it pretty quickly last summer, as you know, the government here was trying to drill in the Arctic, like doing all these hard, like there was a sense of urgency for me to make it because I felt like all these beautiful landscapes were potentially under threat.
Okay. The urgency of destruction. Maybe destruction.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe things will change. I don't know.
I hope so. I hope so.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for programming my film. Thank you.
So let's speak with Rocío. Hola, Rocío.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
O si tienes preguntas para los demás artistas, bienvenidas, o si quieres, hablamos ya de tu obra.
I don't have any questions for the rest, but I want to say to Catherine that when she was talking about this collective in Boston, I did a search on my phone on Instagram, and it looks really amazing, and it's great to know that there are artists out there that have communities, and we support each other, especially on the practice of analog cinema. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome.
Thank you. And we try, right now, we can't have guests, obviously, because no one can travel. But when people can travel, we like to open up our facilities and let people come who are coming through show films. So please be in touch if you're anywhere near Boston.
Oh, that's so kind. And I'll keep it in mind for sure. I would love to visit you guys. Thank you.
You're welcome.
If you want to share the contact, you can use the chat here.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Maybe, no, I don't know, Twitter or Instagram. I don't know, maybe to keep in contact. Ok, Rocío, gracias por estar aquí. Me gusta
Muchas gracias a vosotros.
Me gusta también tu peli. Yo creo que tienen un poco de relación con la de Catherine. Pues Rocío, la pregunta que les estoy haciendo a todos es ¿de dónde vino la idea o las ideas de la obra?
Pues si quieres te contesto primero en español y luego lo repito al inglés. ¿Te parece? ¿O lo digo directamente en inglés?
Como estamos todos hablan inglés, entonces mejor dale en inglés.
Okay, perfecto. So I've been working for a few years now on a feature film. And this is a feature that it's quite more narrative and less experimental. And I wrote it, and it takes many, many years to get the funds to, to actually go into production, which it was supposed to be happening right now, and it got canceled because of COVID. But during the making of this feature film, I started working a lot with analog filmmaking and experimenting with Super 8, 60 millimeters, and I became really interested on it. I mean, I've been always extremely interested on experimental filmmaker as an audience and programmer, but this was me getting interested as an artist, like being brave enough to actually work with these materials that I always wanted to, right? And during the making of this feature film, I was doing a lot of research on the area where we were gonna film, and I wanted to get more familiar with those landscapes, and I moved there for a month just to live around the area and
and that's how this film came to my mind. It's connected with a lot of the concepts that I'm talking on the feature film, but I wanted to do a more abstract piece. And I shot it in 16 millimeters. And then I believe that this film needed to have a very specific sound design and soundtrack. And that's how I invited Mark, who is here with us in the room. And he did an amazing job for the soundtrack.
Yeah. Where was filmed the movie? ¿Dónde lo filmaste?
Oh yeah. So this is southern Spain, Granada. It's actually the area where I grew up. I was born there, born and raised in Granada, in a very little town, very rural village, middle of nowhere. Like right now, I'm based in the United States, in Los Angeles. I've been living here for 10 years. So obviously, the making of this film it's also an excuse for me to go back to my roots and to spend some time there and look at those landscapes with a different perspective.
Y el nombre de tu obra, Vega, ¿tiene que ver con el lugar? O cuéntanos un poco por qué el nombre.
Yes, the title of the film is the name of that place. So that place is called La Vega de Granada. And Vega in Spanish, it means a fruitful land where you can like cultivate a lot of things, right? But also is the name of a star. And it's and that place in particular is named Vega because it's a land of farmers, and it's a very fruitful land, and that's why it received that name back in the day. But I always liked that it was the name of a star as well, right? And that was it was one of the concepts that I was playing with in the film.
Sí, vemos como una estrella brillando en tu película con el espejo.
Yeah.
Tal vez esa referencia.
I wanted that star to be also like a lighthouse, that it's like calling you and attracting you to the port, in the same way that as much as I'm far away from the land in which I grew up, I always feel like it's calling me in a way, right? Like when you grew up in a tiny little town, tiny little village, there's a point that you need to get out of there in order to grow in many aspects. But as like the farther you are from that place, the more you realize of all the good things you received from that land, right? I feel like growing up in the countryside gives you a special connection with nature and a special way of looking at things that I wouldn't change for anything in the world. But the idea of going back and living in such a small place is also asphyxiating. So there is like a love-hate relationship there that I felt like it was interesting to work with.
Muy interesante, Rocío. Sería maravilloso vivir en el campo. Rocío, podemos hablar entonces un poco del sonido, de cómo fue desarrollado. Invitamos a Mark. Hello,
Yeah.
Mark.
Hello.
Hi.
How's everybody doing?
¿Cómo fue la experiencia de crear este sonido? Me imagino que fue después de filmar o fue antes.
Yeah. So I first filmed and I edit the film as I wanted it, and then I contact Mark and I sent him the entire film with notes, and those notes we're mostly talking about feelings, I guess, concepts, things that I could listen, and then Mark was the one spending a lot of time actually elaborating this soundtrack. He can tell you a little better. Mark, do you wanna talk about your experience?
Yeah, so it's really like the first thing I've ever tried to score, but I kind of wanted to just like kind of had like a theme come to mind immediately, based off of the notes that Ro had sent me. And I don't know, it seemed like there was so much, I guess, like non-soundtrack sound happening in the visual that I started wanting to just kind of like fill, like kind of like Foley sounds and kind of sounds that might not be real, but that like your imagination is almost like kind of like overcompensating for like the sound, like how it maybe doesn't have like enough emotion to it or something. I mean, it's like how like in the US, they'll use like a bald eagle, but the the sound it makes isn't the sound an eagle makes. It's like a hawk or something. But, so yeah, just kind of playing with like visuals, what sounds stuff makes, like kind of based off like your memory, which is always a little bit not always like 100% true, I guess.
The way I knew Mark is because he is an avant-garde composer, and we were friends from the music community in Southern California, because he lived here for a while, and I always enjoyed listening to his music and attending to his concerts in which he plays in different bands, but I really loved this solo project that he has in which he plays synthesizers and creates incredibly beautiful ambient music. So I was very inclined to work with him and give him the opportunity of scoring a film, which is something he was also curious to work with. And it was amazing. So I just want to say that one of the most beautiful things of working on creating movies is to work with your community. Like that's a wonderful gift, to keep in touch with your talented friends that way.
For sure, and definitely to be able to like connect the dots between different kinds of like media, like what I mean. If one person is good at film, one person is into like music, one person is into illustration, just kind of like finding where in your community, what I mean, like how to tie all those things together. Which it was really fun to do from like, we had known each other from when I lived in LA, but I mean, I live in Indiana now. So it was like really fun to kind of do this long distance project wherein, the nature sounds that I was, everything is like where it's happening and like what's really happening in the film is like all very, very skewed. And yeah, working at a distance and working with like a friend was a really fun project.
Great. Nice. Mark, which were the instruments that you use in the making?
Yeah, so I mean, it pretty much just kind of like the main theme is on just an acoustic guitar, and then from there it goes into kind of like a bunch of like cut up and played drums. There's like three parts. There's like an acoustic guitar vignette, and then there is like a bunch of collaged drum breaks in like a bit more of a chaotic spot. And then in the end, it's kind of more of like an ambient synthesizer motif. But then all that stuff, gets broken up with like, sounds of an explosion that are just made with basically like a plastic dumpster full of metal in it, or like, rustling leaves made with like plastic bags, and just kind of messing around with like what kind of instruments and what kind of objects you would use to make sounds to score something, as opposed to because the footage is really beautiful, and I feel like initially I had just planned to just just kind of do this kind of just soundscape over the top of it, but yeah, then it just seemed like it was a little bit more emotive than that, so then it just kind of the instrumentation's just kind of all over the place, really.
Right. If you want to share your work, your artwork, your music, use the chat so we can check later.
Oh yeah, for sure. I will do that. Thank you. And yeah, thank you also to Rocio for asking me to take on this project. It's really challenging. And if anybody who works on films in this room, if you have friends that, I don't know, just like reach out to your friends, reach out to people in your community. If you're trying to work with like sound, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes it's like the thing can just be like right, can just be right in your own community who you need to reach out to. So I really appreciated that kind of faith, being able to do something for her work. So yeah.
Okay. Gracias, Rocío. ¿Quieres decir algo más?
I just want to say thank you to the festival for including Vega in the program and inviting us to this incredible retro-futuristic space. I'm having a lot of fun in this VR experience. And of course, thank you to Mark for jumping in. And there is nothing more magical than sending a bunch of notes to something that only lives in your brain and receiving a soundtrack from one of your dear friends with everything you ever imagined and more. Just like magic, really. So yeah, that's it. Thank you, everybody. Just feeling very grateful today. Despite the current circumstances that Catherine was mentioning before.
Okay, thanks to you. Gracias, Rocío, por tu obra. Tenemos we have another artist here, Daniel. He's in the other part of this space. Daniel, ¿puedes venir o vamos hacia ti?
I can see very well the space, Michael.
Let's go to Daniel. To Daniel's place. Daniel.
¿Me escuchan?
Sí, hola. Ya creo que llegamos todos.
Okay.
Oh, Catherine is. Catherine, if you want to move to the tables there, you can use the W key, Q, E, and W. Hola Daniel, bienvenido.
Hola.
Qué bueno que estés aquí.
Gracias. No, gracias a ustedes por la invitación.
¿Quieres hablar en español o en inglés?
En inglés si quieren, para que todo el mundo entienda.
Ok. Pues te voy a preguntar en español. Daniel, ¿cómo llegó la idea de hacer tu película y cómo la desarrollaste?
Okay. Well, back then, I was going through a very difficult time in my life. My stepdad was going through cancer, and he died in a very sudden way. So I was in a really weird place in my life. And I was also in film school, and I was supposed to make a documentary. That was the final assignment. And I didn't know what to do because I didn't feel drawn to any characters or any conventional documentary because of my emotional state. So I began exploring different types of cinema, and I came across Ruben Gámez, a Mexican experimental filmmaker, and I saw this short film called Valle de Mexico, which is a 10-minute film about Mexico City and surroundings, all made with images in black and white and a Pink Floyd soundtrack. No? So I saw that and it blew my mind, and I understood I could do something different rather than a documentary in the classic way. So I began to exploring different ways of doing cinema and watching different movies. And I came across this movie called Behemoth, which is about a mine in China. And the character in this movie is the mine, not the worker. So I got the idea to adapt something similar, but with Mexico City subway. So I began to explore this space with the idea of making this space like as it was this kind of monster of or this kind of living entity, no, which the people had to go through them. And I began filming and editing as much as I could, and I began to explore sound as well with my friend Javier, which is the sound designer. And it took me about a year of editing and trial and error and exploring new ideas and about 7 hours of film material. And yeah, after a long process of editing, I came across this film.
Nice. Crónicas del Subsuelo, Chronicles of the Underground. So that's the film. So, como te entendí, estás usando el metro como un personaje, ¿verdad? Como un
Sí, como un monstruo.
Increíble. Sí se siente un poco en la obra, claro. Daniel, quisiera saber un poco, pues, ¿cómo lograste estas imágenes un poco caleidoscópicas y bueno, ese proceso de edición, qué efectos tuviste, cómo llegaste a esas imágenes que se vuelven un poco abstractas en algún momento?
Yeah, well, I had a pretty clear abstract concept in my head, no? I was looking for something in a sensation rather than particular images. And me and my photographer talk lengthily about this, no? And in Mexico City, in the subway, you have to get a permit to be able to film. And we didn't do that because it was too expensive and it came with a lot of limitation from the authorities. So because of that, we had to be careful in the way in which we crafted the images. And that gave us a certain limitation which we could play with because we were standing in places not so very ideal to film, but we have to in order to not be caught, no, by the authorities. And that way of filming gave us a particular way of seeing the subway or a particular way of composing the images, you know. And I don't know, I think that in combination with my particular sensation and my connection with my photographer, we made a really great relationship to collaborate because she knew very well my concept and my ideas, so she could improvise in the filming, you know, and she could do whatever she wanted. So it was a combination of her ideas and her vision with my vision and the limitations that the space gave us, pretty much. I don't know if that explained the question.
Yes, yeah. ¿Trabajaste entonces con 3 personas o tuviste más equipo, más?
And we were 4 people: my producer, my photographer, and my sound designer and sound recorder. But my sound guy, because of the illegality of what we were doing, we couldn't have someone with a boom inside the subway, no, because it was too flashy and it was gonna get us caught very easily. So what I did was I explained the concept to Javier. I showed him a lot of images I have taken and I have edited with a really crappy sound I did. And he went by himself with his own schedule to find whatever he wanted. No? So I gave him that liberty for him to work as a co-director in a way, because the sound in this film is very important. No? So to answer your question, we're four people: my producer, my photographer, and my sound designer. That's it.
Yes. Excelente, Daniel. Me encanta tu obra. Lograr ese comienzo con la ausencia de gente, me imagino lo difícil que fue. Y luego cómo se despierta ese monstruo que dices, muy, muy interesante.
Well, yeah. In order to get some takes, we had to be there like 2 or 3 hours and see when the people came, when they went. So we had seen the moments in which there is no people at all, which are like 10 to 5 seconds, no, every hour. And so it was a lot of patience to be able to get that construction of an empty space. And thank you very much for your comment and for having me here.
Gracias, Daniel. Somebody has any questions? Okay, Rocio, Mark, Catherine, Anna, Daniel, thank you for this meeting. It's nice to listen to you. It makes us to understand a little better. Gracias a ustedes. If you want to talk,
Thank you. Hello. Hi. No, thank you for inviting us. It's a really interesting and nice experience. I'm very happy to have been part with my film to this festival, and I'm really also proud of the program which was part of. So I really appreciated all of the works that were presented in this program and also other programs. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks to you, Anna. So I think someone left. So that's it. I think if you want to talk between you, you can do it. Gracias, Rocío, por ayudarme con mi inglés.
Tu inglés es fantástico, no he necesitado ninguna ayuda. Fantástico. Muchas gracias a vosotros por invitarnos, por hacer el esfuerzo de que sea bilingüe.
Gracias a ti.
Y un abrazo a todos.
Un abrazo. So, goodbye, everyone.
Adiós.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias por invitarnos.
Daniel.
Que estén muy bien.
Excelente. Thank you, Mark.
Bye.
I will listen your.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.